Are you an aspiring notary looking to join millions of other notaries? Start your journey with the Notary Public Foundation by Derek Spruill. This essential guide provides the step-by-step process to becoming commissioned in your state. Don't stumble into the role. Walk into it with confidence. Grab your copy of the Notary Public Foundation by Derek Spruill on Amazon today.
Welcome to Notary Knowledge. I am Marylyn Lee Trotter, and sitting here with me is Montes Travis.
Hey everyone, it's so great to be back for another show.
It really is. And before we jump into things, we want to remind you to check out the Notary Knowledge books by Derek Spruill.
Yeah, they are an absolutely incredible resource. You can grab them right now on the Notary Knowledge website.
Exactly. And while you're at it, be sure to check out our video show, No Notary, with Montes Travis, as well as my quick video series, Marylyn's 90 Seconds of Notary.
There is just, so much good content out there for everyone. So what is on the agenda for today's conversation?
Well, we are focusing on the Sunshine State today, so we're looking at Florida laws.
Oh, nice. Florida is definitely known for its strictness.
Right. The Sunshine State strictness is real. We've got a massive stack of Florida statutes here, specifically Chapter 117 plus the administrative codes.
And we've got some great legal analyses on compliance, too.
Yeah, we do. Because we want you to understand that a Florida notary isn't just, someone who stamps a piece of paper.
No, not at all. They are a critical public officer.
Exactly. They balance these really strict traditional physical laws with cutting-edge digital technology.
And it matters, right, because these rules protect the public from massive fraud.
It sounds kind of dry until you realize it involves biometric tech, fraud prevention, and the power to legally marry people.
Yeah, the marriage thing always surprises people. But let's start with the basics of Florida Handbook trivia.
Let's do it. I'm going to throw a trivia scenario out there. Let's call it the Mike from Minnesota scenario, or in this case, Mike in Florida.
I love a good scenario. Hit me.
Okay, here's the question for you listening. How old does a minor have to be to have their signature notarized in Florida? Is it A, 16, B, 18, or C, there is no age limit?
Give you a couple seconds to think about that one.
All right, time's up. The answer is C, there is no age limit.
Which is wild, right? But it's true.
But, and this is the important part, the minor has to be physically present and meet the exact same ID standards as an adult.
Right, a parent absolutely cannot just sign for them or, vouch for them.
Because Florida enforces this unbreakable rule of physical presence for traditional acts, it's the whole foundation of their anti-fraud system.
Yeah, it really is. The core duty is just verifying identity. And Florida only gives you 3 acceptable ways to do that.
The first one being personal knowledge, right? Which means the notary actually knows you.
Yes, but it's not just, recognizing the guys from the coffee shop.
Right. It's a deep enough personal acquaintance that the notary is willing to risk their commission on it.
Exactly. So most of the time, you're using the second method, which is satisfactory ID.
And that's not just any ID. It has to be a state-issued driver's license, passport, things like that.
Yeah, and structurally, it has to have a photo, a physical description, and a signature.
So the notary is actually cross-referencing your face, checking your eye color, and watching you sign.
They are acting as a sort of legal bouncer, honestly.
A legal bouncer. I love that analogy. You're at the velvet rope of the justice system.
And if you don't have that ID, like if an elderly person doesn't drive anymore, there is a third way.
The sworn statement of credible witnesses, right?
Exactly. 2 people who do have valid IDs have to swear under oath that you are who you say you are.
Wow. And they can't have any financial interest in the document, right?
Correct. The notary is triangulating your identity through legally binding oaths from other people.
So with all this intense legal responsibility, you'd think notaries are making a fortune.
Oh, definitely not. For traditional acts, Florida caps the fee at exactly $10.
Wait, $10? That's it?
That is it, $10 per act.
I mean, $10 to take on the liability of, say, a massive real estate transfer? That seems wild.
It does, but it's really an access to justice issue.
Oh, I see. So if they charged $100, lower income folks would be priced out of legal services.
Exactly. The notary is a public servant first. In fact, witnessing a vote-by-mail ballot is completely free.
Oh, they can't charge anything for that.
Nothing at all. But here's the kicker. While fees are capped, traditional notaries still have to carry a $7,500 bond.
And I think people really misunderstand what a bond is. They think it's insurance for the notary.
Yeah, that is a huge misconception.
Mm.
The bond does not protect the notary at all.
It protects the public, right?
Exactly. It protects you, the listener.
So If a notary makes a mistake, like they let a fake ID slip past the velvet rope and it causes me financial harm, I file a claim against their bond.
Yes. The surety company pays you out up to that $7,500.
But then what happens to the notary?
The surety company goes right after the notary's personal bank account to get that money back.
Oh, wow. So if the notary wants to protect their own assets, what do?
They have to buy a completely separate errors and omissions policy or E&O insurance.
Okay, so E&O protects the notary, but the bond protects the public.
You nailed it.
So if their whole job is being this bouncer, physically looking at an ID and a face, what happens when the signer can't be in the room?
Well, for a long time, the answer was just too bad. You had to be there.
Right. Doesn't the whole system kind of break down without physical presence?
It did. Until 2020. That's when Florida legalized remote online notarization, or ARN.
Ah, the digital frontier. So the bouncer goes virtual.
Exactly. The notary still has to be physically located in Florida, though.
Their feet have to be on Florida soil.
Yeah, but the signer can be anywhere. Tokyo, London, or just down the street in Miami.
But surely that makes it easier to use a fake ID, right? It sounds like a fraudster's dream to just hold up a fake card to a webcam.
You'd think so, but the state actually made the security protocols incredibly intense to counter that.
They raised the barrier to entry for the notary too, right?
Massively. To become a RON, that bond jumps from $7,500 to $25,000.
Whoa. And they have to carry a $25,000 E&O policy on top of that.
Yes, it's mandatory. Plus, the fee cap goes up to $25 per online act to cover the overhead.
Overhead, like what? The
And-
software?
Software? Yeah, but also record keeping. They have to keep full audio-video recordings and electronic journals for 10 years.
10 years. That is a massive amount of video storage.
It really is. Sometimes they even have to use a secure third-party repository.
Okay, so the state has the tape. But how does the notary actually verify a plastic ID over a compressed Zoom feed?
They don't just use their eyes. Florida requires a strict multi-factor authentication framework.
Okay, so what is the first step of that?
It's called credential analysis. The signer uploads high-res photos of their ID.
Ah, and a software program analyzes it.
Exactly. A third-party software checks the microprinting, the holograms, the barcode data.
Wow, so it's actually harder to fake than an in-person meeting.
Arguably, yes. The software catches things a human eye would easily miss.
But what if a fraudster just buys my real identity on the dark web? They have my actual data.
That is where the second step comes in. Knowledge-based authentication, or KBA.
I've heard of this. This is
Right.
the quiz, right?
Yeah. The system generates at least 5 multiple-choice questions from decades of your public records.
Like, what color was the car you registered in 2012?
Exactly. And you have to score at least 80%.
I mean, a fraudster wouldn't know my old car color.
Right. And here is the best part. The statute requires a timer. You have to finish all 5 questions in under 2 minutes.
Oh, wow. 2 minutes.
Yeah, so you literally do not have time to Google the answers.
That is brilliant. But wait, a webcam only sees what's in the frame, right?
Right, which is a known vulnerability.
So what if someone is off camera pointing a weapon at the signer or like coercing them?
That's where Florida carves out some very specific edge cases. They deliberately require a human touch for vulnerable adults.
Vulnerable adults.
Oh.
How does the notary know if someone is a vulnerable adult over a screen?
The ARN platform actually mandates verbal screening questions right at the start.
Like asking, who's in the room with you?
Exactly. And if it's a vulnerable adult, say, someone with an age-related impairment and they need help setting up the tech, remote witnesses are legally ineffective.
Wait, really? So if my nephew is off camera helping me with the iPad, the remote witness part doesn't count?
Nope. In that specific scenario, the witnesses must be physically present in the room with the signer.
That is a fascinating rule to prevent elder fraud. It shows that Florida still really values the physical space.
They really do. And speaking of physical space, we have to talk about marriages.
Yes. This is highly unique. Florida is one of only 3 states, along with South Carolina and Maine, where notaries can solemnize a marriage.
It's such a cool power. And the fee for it is capped at $30, which matches the circuit court clerk.
But there are jurisdictional quirks, right? Like, can they marry someone in Georgia?
Absolutely not. They cannot perform the ceremony outside of Florida's geographic borders.
And they can't use an out-of-state marriage license either.
Right. Also, Florida does not allow notaries to solemnize marriages online via RON.
So no Zoom weddings.
No Zoom weddings. It has to be in person.
Okay, but I want to point out an incredible irony here that we found in the sources.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
So a Florida notary can legally unite their own parents in marriage.
Yes, they can officiate that ceremony.
But they can't notarize a simple car title for those same parents.
Correct. They absolutely cannot.
That is hilarious. Why is that?
It comes down to the conflict of interest doctrine.
Okay, break that down for us.
A notary cannot notarize for a spouse, child, or parent because they lack impartiality.
Yeah.
They might financially benefit from the document.
Right, like if my husband signs a deed, it affects my property rights too.
Exactly. But a marriage ceremony is viewed completely differently under the statute. It's a right, not a financial contract.
That makes sense. But with all these nuanced rules, timers, screening questions, conflict of interest, it has to be incredibly easy to make a mistake.
It is,
Right.
which is why we need to talk about the risks and the penalties.
Because what happens when a notary crosses the line?
The consequences are severe. Let's start with the absolute biggest rule.
The prohibition on notarizing a document if the signer isn't present.
Exactly. Whether it's physical presence or a compliant RON session, there are zero exceptions.
So you can't just notarize a document because your friend called and said they signed it at home?
No, never. Another huge violation is notarizing incomplete or blank documents.
Right, because if you stamp a blank document, someone can just write whatever terms they want on it later.
It's basically handing someone a state-sanctioned blank check.
So are the penalties just a slap on the wrist?
Far from it. A violation of the presence requirement is a civil infraction.
How much is the fine?
It is punishable by up to $5,000.
$5,000 for one mistake.
Yes, but that is just if it's a mistake. If there is an, quote, intent to defraud, it escalates dramatically.
Escalates to what?
It becomes a third-degree felony.
A felony. Wow. So the state does not mess around.
Not at all. Even just possessing someone else's official seal is a second-degree misdemeanor.
But what if I'm at work and my boss tells me to notarize something without the person there?
Well, the sources outline strict employer liability.
Really? So the boss is on the hook too?
Yes. If a notary messes up while acting within the scope of their employment, the employer is also liable for damages.
So a company could be sued into oblivion because their employee misused a $10 stamp.
Exactly. A notarized document completely shifts the burden of proof in court.
Because if a fake power of attorney drains a bank account, the damage is catastrophic.
Right. The penalties have to reflect the immense trust placed in that seal.
If you are hiring a notary, you aren't just paying $10 for a stamp. You are paying for the legal weight and the personal liability that notary is taking on.
That is a great way to put it.
It's just an incredible evolution from this traditional rubber stamp and a $7,500 bond to these high-tech digital guardians.
Yeah, using multi-factor authentication while still maintaining state traditions like solemnizing marriages.
But it does leave me with a provocative thought, building on what we've talked about today.
Oh, what is that?
Well, think about artificial intelligence and deepfakes. They are becoming incredibly sophisticated.
Yeah, it's pretty scary how fast the tech is moving.
Right. So will Florida's current knowledge-based authentication and 2-minute timers actually be enough in a few years?
That's a really good question. An AI could easily bypass a 2-minute trivia timer.
Exactly. We might soon see a future where the definition of, quote, personal presence has to be radically redefined all over again just to keep the legal system secure?
I wouldn't be surprised at all if Chapter 117 gets another major update soon.
It definitely seems inevitable. Well, that wraps up our deep dive into the Florida statutes today. If you have questions about anything we discussed, email your questions to derek@dereksproul.com.
Yeah, send them in. We'll try to answer them as soon as possible at the end of our shows.
And now for our credits. Exec producer Derek Sproul, lead writer Marylyn Lee Trotter, graphics Eddie Montes Travis, music Thomas Bynum, produced by Magnificent Works Business Solutions.
Remember, don't just be listeners of the knowledge, be doers of the knowledge.
This is Notary Knowledge.
Until next time.
Are you an aspiring notary looking to join millions of other notaries? Start your journey with the Notary Public Foundation by Derek Sproul. This essential guide provides the step-by-step process to becoming commissioned in your state. Don't stumble into the role. Walk into it with confidence. Grab your copy of the Notary Public Foundation by Derek Sproul on Amazon today.